EMB Sports Radio and Jet Broadcasting .live as well. That's online. And take us with you on your iPhone. Punch it in, that sort of thing. Listen on the tower computer. Or, if you prefer, why don't you go and watch me on Facebook? You missed the show. It's always archived. Just go to the video section. It's right there. Okay. The Atlanta Braves last night, there was, what were we going to say? It's modern day baseball. You've got Dallas Keuchel striking out 12 batters. It's the most a starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves has fanned in a start since 2016, since Julio Teheran struck out 12 Tigers in the last game played at SunTrust Park. And of course, while allowing only 3 hits and walking 2, Keuchel's taken out after 7 innings. And in the 8th inning, after a scoreless inning from Chad Sobotka, the bullpen blows it. Yeah. I will be telling you that, okay, Johnson City's Jerry Blevins, if he is Johnson City's after all, he did not blow the game, I'll give you that. But it was, with the score tied at 2 apiece. And remember, also, I want to also point this out. Keuchel was not pinch hit for. Actually, in the 7th inning, after the 6 innings that Keuchel pitched, Sobotka came in, and then he was pinch hit for. If you're wondering, Keuchel 102 pitches. Oh, that's too many. It's over 100. Just of the belief that 100 pitches is just this nice number that we've come up with. I'm also of the belief that if Peyton Whitson, Unicoi County, can go 119 in a start, maybe Keuchel could go another 17-pitch inning. All right. Regardless, bullpen blows it. Well, let's give you the highlights here. This is a home run from Lucas Duda of the lowly Kansas City Royals.
The 2-2. Swung on, hit well, deep right center field. That's a way back, and that ball is away gone. Lucas Duda almost completely hit it out of the ballpark, and the Royals are back in front, 3-2.
So that dinger made it 3-2. The Royals would score 3 runs in that frame to take a 5-2 lead. Braves added tallies in the bottom of the 8th and the bottom of the 9th, but they could not plate the tying run. And so the Royals, who, and also ran in the American League Central, and seemingly have been every year since they won the World Series in 2015. They lost 104 games last year. They've already been trading away, their starting catcher, pitchers, all that, outfielders, all this. Royals at 38-64 defeat the Braves 60-40, who are 60-42. So we're past the 100-game mark in the baseball season. Only 60 more games left in the Major League season for the Braves. That means that the Atlanta Braves, they still have a healthy and comfortable lead in the National League's Eastern Division, but they lost a game. They are now 5.5 up of the Washington Nationals, who would be in line right now for the first wild card spot. They would host the St. Louis Cardinals, who also have been red hot. And they actually sunk the slumping Pirates into last place with a victory. Well, they've actually won their first 2 games of their series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. As we go through here and looking for the highlights to play of that game for you, if you may. Guy who's been just red hot lately for the Cardinals is Paul Goldschmidt. He's already hit 2 home runs in the series, so why not another one?
First pitch to Goldschmidt. It's hit hard down the left field line. Hooking, but it stays fair. Big fly Goldschmidt. Back-to-back nights. A 2-run homer, and the Cardinals have tied it here in the 3rd. would be if he starts heating up.
Then the Cardinals won it in the 5th inning on this dinger from Jose Martinez.
The pitch to Martinez. A swing, a drive. That's hit deep. Right center field to the wall. A gunner for Jose Martinez. 4-3 Cardinals in the 5th inning.
I listened to those calls, and maybe having a little bit of sizzle, like I said. Somewhere you want a little bit more sizzle than that, and maybe just a little bit less like you'd get from Joey's Zanaboni. I mean, the game's the thing, not your nightclub act here. And you know that in every other sport you broadcast. Why not here? That's the question that I ask. Anyway. So we're going with that. There's some interesting things. I know I just got this in, these sound bites and all that, which I thought was kind of interesting. There's been a lot of talk about putting netting around, from foul pole to foul pole, around the fans at Major League Baseball parks. I mean, last year a fan at Dodger Stadium died after being hit with a foul ball. The thing is Rob Manfred said, I don't have the jurisdiction to do that. By the way, I was at a Major League game on Saturday, and the netting is there. I mean, it's the rope is already there, and it's very easy to get to extend the netting to the foul pole. I do not understand why. I mean, even in the best interest of baseball clause, a fan died last year. Go ahead, sue me. Sue me because we're going to put up netting to protect the fan. Who is going to sue? That's like, I'm going to sue General Motors because they're putting seatbelts in cars. Please, here we go. This is what Rick Renteria, the manager of the Chicago White Sox, had to say about netting.
Protective aspect of the netting, I think will, give us a chance to assure fewer injuries through balls or bats that are being thrown. I think they've done a nice job, as I just looked at it before I came to speak to you all, so I can speak truthfully about it. It looks like there's no inhibiting factors in terms of watching, being able to see things, but it should obviously keep, high velocity screamers and some bats from going into the stands and causing injury.
See, the White Sox are all on their own extending the netting to foul pole to foul pole. I mean, Rob Manfred can get the Indians to change their logo that's been there for 70 years because he doesn't think it's any longer appropriate. You can't have a caricature. Although you could have one calling Johnson City Cardinals games. That's the interesting thing. But you are instead not able to protect your own fans. So as far as I'm concerned, Scott Reifert has the best interest of baseball more than the commissioner does. Here's Scott Reifert, White Sox vice president.
I think one of our approaches is let's see over the next 2 months. Fans are going to adapt, players are going to adapt. Let's see what happens, and then we can make decisions about next year moving forward.
I'm going to talk a little bit also about baseball yesterday. Over the years, I think it's like for the last, generation, the New York Yankees have played .750 baseball against the Minnesota Twins. Remember 2 years ago they met in a wild card? Anybody think the Twins were going to win that wild card game? It was back in 2017. They were actually down 8-2 to the Twins yesterday, and then here's what happened.
And Gibson deals. Swung on and driven to deep right field, headed toward the wall, and she is gone! It's a 3-run home run just over the high wall into the seats. Yes, indeedy. A 3-run blast. This is the dawning of the age of Gregorius. He homers, and the Yankees are right back in the game. They trail 8-5.
Okay, now you understand where, baseball broadcasters are getting their, I'm going to tell jokes now during the game. I need to enhance the game with, Aaron Judge enhanced the game this way.
And the pitch swung on, hit high in the air to center. Back goes Kepler on the track near the wall. It is off the wall Both runners will score. Judge goes to second and holds on. And you know, Judge just missed tying the game.
And we would have, therefore, you know, we didn't get to hear yet another "it is high, it is far, it is gone." Gregorius, though, is the hero of the 3-run home run to begin the comeback, and then the 2-run double here to cap it off.
The 2-2 to Didi. Runners lead. Pitch. Swung on. A high fly to right center. Back goes Cap.
Well, we had it there for a second, didn't we? All right, maybe the computer is not liking John Sterling and thinking that he's a bit over the top, huh? Anyway, the Yankees just running away now with the East Division in the National League, in the American League. It'd be something that was in the National League, wouldn't it? In fact, now Boston has moved 1 percentage point ahead of the slumping Rays, that the Yankees have just beaten up on. It's supposed to be, the Rays could get back into the race. They're going to play 11 times, over, a month period and all this, and the Yankees just so totally dominated that now, okay. And it is now a situation of Yankees and Dodgers. Let's face it. We are sorry, Houston Astros, but that's the series that everyone wants to see. You know that. Unless you are a Houston Astros fan or a fan of the, Cleveland Indians or whatever. There's all that talk actually now, and it is kind of interesting. And I think that this is why the wild card isn't working. There's still this idea, is Trevor Bauer on the trade block? Indians are a game up in a wild card. They're only 3 games back. But the idea is, wait a minute here. Let's say we even overtake the Twins. Maybe the hottest team in the American League over the last 2 months, but what chance do we really have against Houston and the New York Yankees? Honestly. Be in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. Have a fine pitching staff, maybe that'll help. But you wouldn't bet on the Indians to go to the World Series this year. You'd bet on the Yankees. You might bet on the Astros. You're not betting on anybody else. And that's the thing. That's where 5 teams in the playoffs. The fans love it. Do they? Because the attendance has been down in Cleveland. All-Star game and everything. I happen to think that they believe, the fans up there, that the sport is becoming a wee bit too more politically correct. Tom Hamilton also, though. There's a guy who can call a baseball game without question. By the way, speaking of the New York Yankees, and we're finally getting to this in the first hour of the show, Robert Silverman of the Daily Beast has written a story that a lot of people are really criticizing. And what it is that he has tried to make Mariano Rivera out to be, Alex Jones or something. The headline is, Inside Baseball Hall of Famer Mariano Rivera's far-right politics. Remember, he was inducted into Cooperstown. First player ever to get 100% of the vote on Sunday. And he says, over the past 3 years, that Rivera has served at the pleasure of a racist president, taken part in thinly veiled propaganda on behalf of a far-right government in Israel. You get the idea. This is the thing about modern-day sports coverage. And this is why ESPN wanted to get away from political coverage, but I still think, maybe modest gains, but very modest gains for SportsCenter. Okay, it'll stay on the air, don't get me wrong, but modest gains. And I really don't think that it's going to change until somebody like an ESPN or another sports network really has a conservative viewpoint to balance it all out. Like we do with Clay Travis.